By now, many of you have probably seen the racist mobs in the UK terrorizing communities of color, among the many other things happening in this world right now. From the bad sportsmanship by the primarily, white European athletes at the Olympics, and the trans witch hunts happening, and just a general rise in fascism, the normalization of it, be it online or in person as we're seeing it culminate to actual physical violence. Things are bad. Things are getting worse. And I feel like there's very little happening. I'm not saying don't be inspired. There's a lot of people who are acting out against it. There's anti-fascist marches also happening in the UK. But I've seen so many videos of people standing around and doing nothing as vulnerable, marginalized people are being physically attacked. I've been writing about this all morning on social media, but I really feel like, especially as communists, or even, the Muslim community, as Muslims, as I belong to both, that if our ideologies, if our beliefs aren't helping us to act against these horrors, then what are they doing for you? It needs to fuel us, our hearts, our passion, our ability to change something. How it's almost scary how we've adopted this feeling of numbness, how it's normalized. We allow people to harass and hurt each other online like it's expected, and it manifests into real life. Ignoring it has done nothing. No one's taking risks anymore. No one wants to be shunned or risk anything. Very few want to actually take direct action. And then I see these discussions like, oh, what will history say? What will the history books say about what's happening right now? Wouldn't you be ashamed? Like, stop thinking about what the history books will say and do something. Why is it not, pulling at your heart to do something, to prevent it, to stop these things physically if you can? Part of the reason why I'm so passionate about teaching Soviet history and local labor history and inspiring others through those stories and struggles and the positives, the potentials that came out of it, is because we see in history how to fix these problems, how to prevent this stuff from happening, how to act. We need to learn and empathize with that past to implement it, right? It's not just reading theory and appearing a certain way. We're so concerned about optics and ego and presenting on social media in a certain way to gain more views and sympathies. But it's like if you can't emotionally and intellectually move someone to understand and know and act against oppression and for the vulnerable and oppressed, then what are we doing? For months we've seen genocide. For years, really. And in the past weeks, we've seen even more of an uptick in emboldened fascists all throughout the Western world, seemingly going about with very little real consequence. So what are you going to do? What efforts are you going to put in to either learn how to combat this or protect your local communities at the very least? Hopefully I'm making sense. How are you guys feeling? What are you doing for your local communities to protect them? Part of me does feel hopeful that a lot of people are waking up right now to this reality. They're seeing things at their doorsteps. It's never too late, really, to finally do something and learn something and protect the people you care about. But I often wonder, how much more will it take for others to really wake up and realize what's happening? The depressing part about studying the past is seeing how less than this has resulted in uprisings and a stronger revolutionary spirit. So why are we so numb to it now? It's like the boiling frog. It's always been happening and we've just gotten used to it and docile. So comrades, just let these horrors inspire you, move you to act, and do so with love and fire and empathy in your heart, because it can't come from a self-serving place. You can't consume yourself with optics all the time. You just need to help the people around you the best that you can. And if you're able to read and learn and be inspired from that past that already told us what to do and showed us many ways, the mistakes and the things that went well, implement those things that went well, and be there for each other, and be kind to each other, and be kind to yourself. We desperately need love right now, and action.